Good evening, mates. Blind Prime here, and I have for you Transformers Haslab. I almost said Studio Series. Transformers Haslab Robots in Disguise 2001 Optimus Prime in his Firetruck mode. And we're going to discuss this Firetruck mode today. We're just going to kind of go over it, tell you how it feels in the hand, do a general blind review of this thing, and my overall blind reaction to it. Because, out of the gate, this is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. I never had the original ones of these. Like, I watched the show when it came out on Fox Kids, but I never watched, I never had the toy. So I had no idea how big it was going to be. And besides that, I had no idea that they were going to make it to be about the same size as it was in 2001. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. That it's just not something that I was prepared for. And yeah, wow. I'm gonna need to make a bigger spot on my shelf for these guys because I did not think they were. I was thinking they were at the most Death Sword size, and at the least Victory Saber size, but not Jetfire size. Not Jetfire size at all. So let's talk about it today. We'll go in depth. Cream the cat sleeping on the table like normal, and we'll discuss this from the blind perspective, and maybe you'll get an idea of what this figure's all about. Because, well, I'm glad I backed it. I am glad I backed it, and we'll go into it in depth. And perspective end, I hope you get yours soon. I really do, because I know you're still waiting on yours, and I can't wait to see, to hear your reviews on this, because I know you're going to rip into it. You're going to say some stuff that I just don't have the heart to say, because I like this transformation a lot, and I like this Transformer a lot. So definitely, he does a better job of being non-biased than me. Hi, Cream. And I have the journalism degree. But I can't be. I have a bias. I'll admit it. Ah, Cream, don't bite my nose. Oh my God, you. Yeah, do you want to say hi to Cerebros? Hmm? You want to say hi to Cerebros? Where is Cerebros? Here's Cerebros. Oh, he left. He doesn't want to say hi to Cerebros. Okay. So, that all being said, and the Cream interaction being done, let's get into this video, and we'll start off by talking about Cerebros, because, he was the secret special prize we got for beating some records when we backed this project. So look at the little Cerebros. I wish we had gotten more of a special project, like maybe some blast effects, but it's okay. We got little bitty Cerebros here. Look at him. He's so tiny. He's a little headmaster, and he transforms pretty easy. Look at him. Bam. Yeah. You just kind of fold everything up, and you get this Cerebros head. And Cerebros is, of course, the thing that is the headmaster for Fortress Maximus. So if you had Fortress Maximus and you had a Spike Witwicky headmaster, you can replace that headmaster with Cerebros headmaster. Isn't that fun? I think that's kind of neat, especially since the Fortress Maximus is still going on sale for like $190. Like, if I had the money, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. I'm glad I got Trypticon, but it would have been really cool to get Fortress Maximus. I won't lie about that one. So, this is cool. If you have your own Fortress Maximus, then this Headmaster is just a wonderful little addition to your own collection, because you can switch it out. And he also fits in this little bucket seat over here to the side of the ladder, and I thought that was kind of neat. There's this little seat there, and he fits in it perfectly well, so that's where he lives. He just kind of lives in this seat over here. And the nicest thing is, you can have him in that seat when he's in Super Optimus Prime mode as well. So I like the fact that there's a little seat that you can put him on. Now, when it comes to scaling for this, I have to say that the scaling process for it, it's a bit off. Vehicle mode-wise, this guy, I don't know what scale he decided to be, because it's a brand new one. That's for sure. Maybe on the same scale as that Knight Rider crossover, because he's bigger than normal. And you can't imagine a 1-inch scale human being inside this vehicle. Because Cerebros here represents the 1-inch scale human being, and because all the headmasters are just regular humanoids in power armor. So you got to think like this is the size of a humanoid in power armor, and he's just too small. And in 86 Spike core class is just a little too big. So there's just kind of this era here of where do you belong, Optimus, when you're in vehicle mode? Because you don't really belong anywhere in my collection in vehicle mode. You're just kind of your own thing. Yeah, I might as well just call this one David S. Pumpkins. So let's put that there, and let's really talk about this in addition after discussing the scale. So I don't even know where to begin with this guy. I've thought about it a lot, and I think I'll just start with these fun little hose things in the front, because that's actually something I discovered, and I was like, I like this. This is nice. So you get these two little hose things that stick out the front, and this is the part where I'm like, I really wanted them to give us some liquid blast effects, some water blast effects, or foam blast effects, so we could have plugged them into these, and then had Optimus Prime putting out a fire. Like, I think it would have been great if I'd had Megatronus covered in his fire, and then Optimus Prime with a bunch of liquid blast effects, hosing Megatronus down. Like a true Firetruck should. Yes, that's the way to defeat Megatronus. Put out his fires. So we can actually store each of these two little things, which I love the fact they're on little bobble. They're highly articulated. They can move up and down and left and right. They're really, really cool. So he can actually clean his own windows with them. Yeah, look at that. He can clean his own windows. Isn't that neat? That one goes on the side too. Psh, cleaning the windows. So that's something you can do with those bits. Now let's talk about the other play feature he has, which is this ladder. It can go up. So let's pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Yeah. But we'll drop it down to there for now. I don't want to get it too far out of scene. Yeah. And then we can pull it all the way out. Now this slide for the ladder was stuck whenever I got mine, so I had to work at it a bit before I finally unstuck it, because there's a locking class back there, and I refused to lock it back again because it was just really annoying to get it out of that lock. But there we go. The ladder can stretch out really far. We'll do kind of a three-dimensional thing. Oh yeah, it's stretching out towards the camera. And then this little bobble, the little bucket can fold down on the end, and you can put a little figure in there. But we don't have any figures that can fit in there. Like, Wheelie's too big, and Spike is too big, and our headmaster friend, Mr. Cerebros, is too small. So still, that bucket is, look at that. Cerebros, you're just too small in the bucket. You're just too small in that bucket, Cerebros. And that's why I was like, I really wish this was just slightly smaller. So that everything could be in scale. But that's because I'm a lover of keeping my entire collection in some good scales. And, I don't know, a little weird about that. I like keeping my shelves in order like that. So we'll go ahead and put this away, fold that up, and we can slide it back down. Now, the thing I don't get about this Prime, and I didn't understand that in the show either, are these guns that he has all through here. I would have liked it if we could have actually, there's 4 of these things, and they all can tilt, and they're supposed to be like missile launchers or something, and that's kind of neat. But I think it would have been cooler if I could have just taken them out. Like if all 4 of these could be unplugged and then put onto other things, and you had 4 weapons that you can plug in and out, and there would have been siege ports in there, so each weapon could attach onto the side, or siege pegs onto the side of the ladder apparatus. I think that would have worked out pretty well. But, oh well. Still, really cool. Fold up that, slide it back in, and then we rotate it back, and it sets down. Isn't that fun? Alright, now let's talk about the feel of this product from the front, and we'll go all the way to the back talking about sculpt work and stuff like that, and then we'll get into some size comparisons, because I love the size comparisons. So, starting in the front, we have these huge windows. These are bigger windows than any other Optimus Prime. Like, these are just massive. For me, they're 2 fingers in width, and for the handy-dandy Lego pad, wherever that may have gotten off to, handy-dandy Lego pad, here you go. You roll away. Okay. handy dandy Lego pad here. Let's take a look and tell you how big these windows are, because these are huge, and it would give you an idea of the size of this guy. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 studs in height, from bottom of window to top of window. That is 4 studs. Isn't that insane? Now, width-wise for this Optimus Prime, we have, here he is. Okay, we're going to set him right there, and there is the other side of him, and that is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 studs long, 12 studs wide. Height-wise for this guy, we have, here we are, and counting the ladder as part of the height, we get, make sure that bucket's folded up, that spot right there, and that is our good old 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 zone. So he's 16 studs tall, which is the average height for deluxe scale Transformers, at least since Siege. Now, lengthwise, this guy is a long one. He is definitely the length, a little bit more of the length of a Lego pad. I'd say he's an extra 4 studs added to the 32, so make him 36 to 37 studs in length from front to back. And the front wiggles a bit because I guess I didn't latch something properly, so we can put that away. We're done with the handy dandy Lego pad, and let's continue talking about the feel of this thing. Now, the front of it, going back over here, and this bumper is really nice. We've got a really cool bumper, and we got the little license plate holders, one on each side of the bumper. I think that's kind of a neat thing. And this is an actual Firetruck from that time. So this is a Japanese Firetruck from the early 2000s era. Isn't that neat? So coming around here, we've got the underside of the windows where we've got sort of some engine, some more patterns and stuff. And there's not really an engine in the front of this because there's no vents for an engine. There's no grill for an engine. So I don't know where the engine's at on this guy, but it's not in this front. And coming around here to the side, we have some guns that I took off of him when he transformed, and I just kind of put onto this to his side, so he had little firearms. But here on the side, we've got, it's decent. We got some cool little, actually, we'll switch it over here to this side. So pull off those 2 little weapons. There we go. Because that side is just slightly mistransformed. This side is better. I've still got to work on him a few times before I get this transformation exactly perfect. But here we go. On the side of the vehicle mode, we get 2 siege port pegs, and we get a siege port where I had that gun plugged in. And we also get a couple more siege ports over here. So there's 1 siege port, and there should be another one on the side somewhere, unless it's not. I don't think it is. So it's 2 siege pegs and a siege port. And interestingly enough, these are these are pegs, where on Ultra Magnus, for that spot, they were ports. Now it's just kind of a neat little distribution between the 2. And moving down over here, there's just a lot of panels that you can feel. So there's not as much texture as you would like, but there is a big handle right here for a door. Like, wow, that's a big door handle for the figures that we normally see. Like, this is definitely more on the 2-inch scale for vehicles, because that handle is definitely too big for a 1-inch scale figure. It's also too high up there for a 1-inch scale figure. Now, moving it down over here to the side, we've got more little panel bits. This area right behind the cab, this cab is big, okay? This cab is very, very wide, or very long, the cabin itself. And it's made, if I recall right, to hold firefighters in the front and firefighters behind the front cab. So there's supposed to be 4 doors here, or at least the equivalent of 4 doors. And that will allow firefighters to get in and out. Let's go over here. Maybe I'm right about that. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Not exactly sure. Not exactly sure. I'm not as up to date on my Firetrucks, but I think those are 2 handles. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is a double door on each side Firetruck. Now, Coming back here below the ladder, we do have this low area. It's a very low area compared to everything else, and that's the area where Optimus Prime's super head just kind of hangs out. We can remove his gun here. Some people said you're supposed to store this gun somewhere else on his body. This weird little hose gun with the spinny bits. I haven't been able to figure out where in the world it's supposed to go, store-wise on his body, but it exists. Here we get these little railing feeling things. Like you can pick them up and they act as little railings. I don't know what that's all about, but they hold things in, and they hold this entire center bit together. Because transformation, we'll get into it in depth, but the front of this is the Optimus Prime, and then the back half of this is his super mode. That's all just kind of transformed together, like Ultra Magnus's armor in G1, and that's just kind of what we got here. There's not really a lot going on this flat area, but the thing I want to mention most is every flat surface, just about that's the top of something. A horizontal flat surface has grip in it. It has corrugated steel texturing, and I mean they went almost overboard with it. There is so much corrugated steel texture everywhere on this guy. The roof of the Firetruck is just absolutely glorious with the with all of the textures that it entails. This is one really well done textured guy. This is wild. How many little textures there are. There's little vents and things up here at the top of the Firetruck. Really good. I like the lights too. I like how they can move around, and you can just take them off if you want. And I hope you could put them on other things. I don't think you can, because there's like a little hole. There's a little dot in the center. Maybe you could put it on a mini-con port, but they're really small connections, and I wish they had just been siege pegs and siege ports. That way we could have actually taken them off and put them on others if we wanted them to be on other things. Moving back here, we've got his head, which is just laying there. And the neat thing about this guy was, in the cartoon, his head was just laying there. Like, this is how he looked in the cartoon. His head is just kind of hanging out. You can rotate that head around a bit. It can look around. It can get curious and stuff, but we can just lay it down. There we go. And then around here to the back, we've got some more texture, a lot of texture around the bottom of this ladder, more of that corrugated steel pattern, and all sorts of little lines and divots in here to symbolize panels that can be moved or something like that. And then, of course, we get this really nice ladder that's got some awesome textures, ladder textures going down the side. Now, interestingly enough, you can fold down the sides of this ladder and fold them underneath, and then you kind of have the double ladder. But I don't really know what that's about. Maybe that's a part of the transformation that I missed, but I was just like, that's weird that you can do that. Originally, funny enough, whenever I first was transforming him, I thought that this ladder bit underneath unfolded down because of this little, how it can be gappy, but that's not the case. It slides, it doesn't fold. I figured out it slides because I found the slide path on the underside. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it must slide, because I found this slide path, and there's these little screws and things holding it together down there. And so I gave it my all and pulled it until it finally, broke that connection down there and came out. And I was pretty happy with that. I was also very surprised that the ladder extended. I wasn't really expecting an extending ladder. And now we get our little guy here. We're going to spin this around to the other side, because we talked about this. Well, we didn't really talk about the seat he was in, but there's nothing to talk about in the seat. I do wish they had textured some stuff, like maybe some leather or some other textures around that seat, but sadly they didn't. Though on this side, they gave us a little ladder. So I was trying to figure out what all these lines are that are sculpted into the side of and I realized it's a ladder. So, yeah, little guy can climb up here to the side of the truck, and then he can just kind of climb up this little ladder to get into the ladder. Yeah, he's got to climb up a ladder to get into the ladder. And I like that. I think that's kind of cool. And I appreciate that they spent the time to, and they were so attention focused on detail that they added this little ladder section. And they did it in a way that makes it feel stylish. Like they sculpted it out nicely. And it kind of leans back a little bit. And It feels more like it's just kind of a stylish thing they put on the side of the vehicle than a ladder, but the ladder's there. Can I just leave you on one of these ladder spokes real quick? Can I? Yeah, look at that. You could just leave him on the ladder spoke. Isn't that neat? See, it's the little things like that that make me happy when it comes to a Transformer. It's the little detailed points. Like that ladder could have just been painted on, but was it? No, it was sculpted in. And that is where your money went. Let's put Mr. Cerebros back in his little seat because he likes it. Let's continue talking about this. So, moving around here to the back, we've got some lights back here. We got a couple of lights, and not really much else. It's just, except for this is where the grill is for the engine. You can feel the grill going all the way across, and that is the engine grill. So the engine's located under the ladder. And it makes sense. It's right above the double wheels on the back end, so the weight of the engine is just going to help push down on those double axles, which is going to give it nice grip. And the weight of the ladder is also pushing down at the same spot, so those back wheels get some grip. That's really good for a fire truck. You got to have traction whenever you're driving around, putting out fires. So that is kind of the basic explanation for him. We've got some more panels on the side, but for the most part, he's a fire truck, and he's got all the textures and patterns here are things I'd associate with fire trucks. So the sculpt work on this is phenomenal. I like the fact that we get down here in the middle section where there's another siege port, and we get some lines cut in there. It's just nice. And this is one of those where you can tell it was kind of a work of love. And I hate that QC issue has caused so many problems about this, because I could tell a lot of man hours went into this. This wasn't something that they just, did quickly. This was something that they spent time on. This is something that they worked hours on, weeks on, even a year on. They focused a lot of time and attention on getting this right, and you can tell when you're feeling it that they did that. It just sucks that the factory put it together badly, because the design work is exceptional in this blind man's opinion. So, before we get into the size comparisons, my grade on this figure will be I'm going to give the vehicle mode an S. I think it deserves an S, even though it's a little too big in the scale size, and that does get my goat a little bit. I think it's forgiven, because this is just such a good figure. And weight-wise, this thing weighs a couple pounds. Like, this is not light. I mean, the box this came in, the FedEx said it weighed 11 pounds. The box itself in Ultra Magnus weighs about a pound. So this guy weighing 2 or 3 pounds makes sense. It's wild, but I bet you he weighs more, and I'm just not good at judging weight. I need to get myself a talking digital scale. So, final grade, S rank for this guy. S rank all the way, absolutely glorious. So let's get into the size comparisons. We'll bring out Rodimus Prime first. Yeah, because Rodimus Prime is awesome. Here's Rodimus Prime. There we go. And Rodimus Prime is actually longer than Optimus here. His trailer is about the same height as the top of Optimus's truck mode. Give you an idea. Slide this away and pick the ladder up. There we go. That way, it's easier to see. It's just wild how long Rodimus Prime is compared to this guy. So that's one commander class shown. Let's set Rodimus Prime off to the side. Well, thickness wise, this Optimus Prime has it on Rodimus. Rodimus stays around the markings of a normal Transformer. He is about the right width of normal Transformers, which is about 8 studs. So here is Bone Crusher. And I'm sorry, my nose just started running. Here's Bone Crusher, and Bone Crusher is about the length of the cab of this fire truck. From the back of his wheels to the front of his thing, he's about the length of the cab. A little bit longer than the cab, but height-wise for Bone Crusher, definitely shorter than the Optimus. Width-wise on Bone Crusher, Bone Crusher's length-wise is almost the same as Optimus Prime's width. It's kind of a wild little comparison. And of course, just for funsies, we can put Bone Crusher at the top of the ladder, just for funsies. Okay, let's continue and set Bone Crusher down. Who do I have here? Okay, I've got little Bumblebee from 86 in robot mode to give you an idea of how Bumblebee would compare standing next to this Optimus Prime. Look at that. The top of Bumblebee's shoulders, his collarbone area, is at the same height as the top of Optimus Prime. Bumblebee can look over the roof, but just barely look over the roof of this Optimus Prime. He stands in front of the Optimus Prime, and the Optimus Prime can take him down. And then, of course, Bumblebee can stand up here, but he can't fit into the little thing. He does stand up there very well. That's a nice little platform. So that is the Bumblebee little comparison. So let's continue. We've got Bone Crusher done, Bumblebee done. We're going to set that over there. Who are you? Oh, hey, it's Armada Red Alert. Armada Red Alert is, there we go. And he's a bit longer than the cap. And then on the front, there it is. He's definitely not as wide. Like, whoa, there's almost 2 Red Alerts for this guy. There's at the top. And can Red Alert balance up here? Yes, he can. Okay. So that's Red Alert. Little quick size comparisons. And what in the world is that? That is not something I need to be talking about today. Okay, talked about you. All right, let's see. What primes do we have to talk about? Because we got to bring in the primes. Let's bring in Nemesis first. Good old Nemesis from Siege. Nemesis Prime. I hope this is my Nemesis. With his trailer, which is G2 Prime's trailer, but I think Nemesis Prime as a tanker truck works better. So there we go. And yeah, even in his tanker mode, Nemesis Prime is not as long as the Optimus. And drive it forwards. It's all right. It's all right, but definitely there's a difference there. Height-wise, though, Nemesis Prime is shorter than Optimus Prime. The bird on Nemesis Prime right now can kind of look over the edge, but not very much. So that's Nemesis Prime. Not really. Oh, come on. What fell? Oh, nuts. Nemesis Prime, I swear. Okay, here we go. Here is Prima Prime. I wanted to compare Prima Prime to this guy because Prime versus Prime, Prime v Prime. And that's a channel on YouTube. Let's see. Here we go. And yeah, Prima Prime is a bit longer. He goes about just a bit longer than the other ones, but not by much. He's a good Voyager scale. And here they are and looking at you, the camera, together. I think Prima Prime's a decent vehicle mode, but definitely Optimus has him on the height. Now, let's see, who is this? Oh, Lockdown. Let's bring out Lockdown. Yeah, this isn't the Dr. Lockdown. He doesn't have a degree. But Lockdown here, it's just, I wanted to bring out Lockdown because I think Lockdown's a fun vehicle mode. And there we go. Lockdown stretches a bit longer than the thing, but that's just because of all the stuff I added to Lockdown. Lockdown is a decent vehicle mode, that's for sure. And compared to Optimus Prime here, he's still kind of small. Like, this is a beast of a Prime. So let's now get into more Primes. Who's the next Prime I can grab over here? We've got... I almost forgot about Sideburn. Because Sideburn is a Robots in Disguise character. We can talk about Sideburn. He can rest on top of Optimus Prime's vehicle mode. He can hang out in here between the ladder section. Because he's just big enough, he can actually just kind of rest on the side of it. Can you just hang out there? Yeah, you can. Can he balance up here? Yes, he can. And is he about the same length as Optimus Prime is long? Yes, he is. Yeah. I hope he looks good next to Prime. But Prime's a red vehicle, so maybe you should watch out around Sideburn. And Sideburn's got that thing about the red cars. But there's a nice little Sideburn with the Optimus Prime, and that's a fun little comparison. I hope we get more 2001 stuff. I know we're getting the Cybershark soon, but I want some more fun vehicles from 2001. They had a lot of cool vehicles. Now, let's get into some actual Prime action here with our first Commander class Prime to talk about, Armada Prime, with his thick trailer. Yeah, your trailer takes up... I don't pose this guy in his vehicle mode often because his trailer takes up so much shelf space. It is just ridiculously wide. And I like, you never can go on a regular road. I don't even know how in Armada he managed it. Like, geez, man, that's insane. So let's compare the two together. So the trailer is actually taller than RiD2001 Optimus Prime. Lengthwise, with trailer, they're about the same. Yeah, they're about the same length. I think that's kind of nice. Now, let's turn them around. Give you an idea of what it looks like from the other direction, because this one is a bit tall. There we go. That is a beast of a Prime. Both of them are beasts of a Prime, but definitely RiD2001 Optimus Prime has it on Armada Prime, and that is just wild. I like comparing commander classes together. This is fun. I enjoy doing this. As you can tell, RiD2001 Prime is above and beyond the commander scale. Now, who is this? Who are you? Oh, okay, cool. We can compare that one, I guess. But first, we've got to... So we'll bring in Scrapper here and put the Prime back. Okay. And that will leave us one more Prime after Scrapper, right? Oh, no. We got one. We got a... Oh, nuts. Almost did bad things. Okay. So here we go. Finishing it up. We've got Scrapper here, and Scrapper is about the length of the front cab of this Prime. We can pick up Scrapper's bucket, and Scrapper's bucket can almost dump stuff on top of Prime, but it can barely reach up there. Like, it's just like, I want to dump things on your roof, but I just can't because you're so tall. So that's cool. Little front side comparison of the two. We can park that guy across, and he is pulling up the bucket. He is about the same length as Optimus Prime is wide. That's insane. So let's set this guy over here. What else do I have over here? We're just setting all sorts of things down. And there we go. You just go there. Okay, who's over here? Ah! No, not you. Where's the other guy? I just had him. There he is. Ah! Movie 4 Optimus Prime. There it goes. Alright, here's movie 4 Optimus Prime. Good old Romeo and Juliet Claus Prime here. He, at the top of his sleeper cab, equals the top of the Optimus Prime. And this is a great example of showcasing what I was talking about when I was mentioning size scaling and how different this is. Because this is a great Prime to showcase that, seeing as this Prime is based on a real-life vehicle. This is movie 4 Prime, of course. And his windows are so small in comparison to the hugeness of the windows. The door on the side of him is also, that door handle is super, super tiny compared to this giant door handle on this Prime. They may be the same scale when they transform into robot mode, but in vehicle modes, drastically different. I guess Evan just couldn't figure out how to get this RiD2001 Prime into the same scaling as all the chug scale figures. It's just slightly off chug scale in vehicle mode. Like Scrapper is off chug scale in vehicle mode, but in chug scale in robot mode. So that is the movie Prime. And who is over here? Who is that? Right. Armada Wheeljack, because I wanted to compare him to a Sideswipe mold, because this is the most common mold to get. There's so many Sideswipes out there. You can get them for all sorts of different prices, from the lowest to the highest. And there's a little comparison of how these work. So Wheeljack Sideswipe he actually is one of the wider guys out there. He stretches all the way to this little fence thing that you can fold up on the side there. Yeah, his rear bumper goes all the way out to there. He fills in this section in the middle very well. If you didn't have the head there, he could just rest right there in the middle very well. On top of Optimus Prime, that's about how it is. Now, Optimus Prime is, if we put Armada Wheeljack here with his nose on one side of Optimus Prime, and he goes across Optimus Prime's windows. Optimus Prime ends right before the back wheel for Wheeljack, so about that long. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, and I think he works out decently well with the Wheeljack, that's for sure. Huge vehicle mode, though. I'll set the Wheeljack down over there. We just set down. Yeah, I spent a lot of time getting a lot of these figures transformed and together for today's episode, and we're going to end it with 86 Prime, because 86 Prime is the know-all, the be-all, the supreme-all. That's 86 Prime. Okay, and his trailer fell. Where's your trailer hitch? There's your trailer hitch. There it goes. Okay, so 86 Prime is definitely longer than RiD Prime, but we already knew that, because if Rodimus Prime was longer and 86 Prime is longer than Rodimus, there we go. Now we can spin this around and we can pick it up and we'll shove 86 Prime back. Come on. 86 Prime, come on. There you go. Good job. Okay. There's the comparison there on this side, and I think that actually looks pretty good. Still wish that the Firetruck was a little less scaled, but the Prime, I think they look pretty good on the shelf next to each other, even if he's an MP scale. That's it. He's an MP scale for his vehicle. I bet he'll scale well with my He'll scale with the alternators. Oh my, I just thought about that. Let's set this Prime off to the side, and you go there, Mr. Truck. You go here, Mr. Trailer. Just rest there. I'll be right back, because we got one more size comparison I just thought about. There. The Transformers alternators, and I got proud because he's an emergency vehicle. And I was like, well, emergency vehicle and emergency vehicle. Let's see how these two compare to each other, because I'm wondering if they work. Oh my God, they do. Dude, handle. I gotta see the door handle. Where's the door handle? Okay, there's your door handle. There's how your door handle feels. And how does your door handle feel, sir? How does your No way. It works. It works. He scales with alternators. His vehicle mode scales with alternators. It makes me so happy. I can put him on a shelf. Oh, this is nice. He scales with alternators. Now I just wish he had the rubber wheels too. That looks good with him and the alternator together. That's good. Oh, that feels like it's a police car sitting next to a fire truck. And the scales are correct. Oh, it's the closest we've gotten when it comes to scale. So if you're like me and you're like, where in the world does this scale? It scales with alternators in vehicle mode, and I think it scales well. Let's look at the wheels. Oh my, the wheels for the Optimus Prime are just slightly larger than the wheels for this guy here. Let's take a look. Okay. Yeah, just a slight larger on the wheels, but not very big. Oh, I think that's pretty nice. I think that's where I'm going to keep this guy if I keep him in vehicle mode. I think he'll hang out with the alternators, because the alternators have been needing themselves a Prime. And I think a Firetruck Prime is the perfect Prime for alternators. I know the Ram Truck was kind of neat, but honestly, it didn't work for Prime. Firetruck works better. This has been a wonderful video to make. I hope you've enjoyed me making today's